Intuition is a dangerous thing. Reality defies understanding. Reality defies understanding. Reality defies understanding. Intuition is a dangerous thing. Last time we did some home scenes. You know, what should be a little bit of normalcy for all your characters, a little bit of time to catch up on some life responsibilities, relax a little bit. I don't think any of you did any of that. No, it was only like nonsense and training and uncovering the unnatural, shooting guns at each other, and doing anything you can to prepare for whatever's coming next. Because all of you, like, you guys are at the ends of your ropes here when it comes to sanity. Some of you, and just there's no normalcy left to be had. Not after the things you've seen. But we had one character which we did not get to yet, and that was Hallow. So we're going to go through Hallow's home scenes, and then spending a little bit more time on just all of the bits of time in between last opera and this opera. So, Hallow, what home scene have you selected? What will you be doing?
Hallow will be catching up or reconnecting again with Isolde,
All right.
who he has since been since the opera previous to this most recent one. He had started a like a private detective agency with.
That's right. Yes. Okay. Spending some time catching up, then, sort of um, fulfilling social responsibility, that kind of thing. So perhaps a scene of you two working a case together or something, or doing paperwork in the office, or
Yeah, I think working a case together.
okay. Okay. Um, just because it's funny, I'm going to tie some things together here. And we see you chasing around some evidence of some sort of apparent vigilante who's been walking around at night just beating up groups of thugs by himself.
Mm.
And to you, and not to Isolde, the description sounded somewhat familiar. Sounded a little bit like maybe Hunter is out and up to some nonsense at night,
Oh no.
committing great acts of violence here and there. So maybe you took this case half to, it's a case for your agency to, take in some income and all of that, and half to maybe obscure some evidence against Hunter if it comes up, or figure out what Hunter's doing, maybe talk to him about it, whatever. But we'll see you at the scene of like an alleyway. There's some blood on the ground that's like slowly being washed away by rain. It's not like a massive amount, but clearly some people got beaten up here, and they maybe like were bleeding a little bit, maybe like spat some blood out, that kind of thing. And you're just tracing this, the signs of a scuffle, things broken nearby. No like gunshots or anything, but just some rough, things were picked up and used as weapons and broken, and that kind of nature. There's like some of the like mud in the alleyway that's just kind of gotten built up in here. Is clearly like scuffed out in like footstep patterns that look like a fight happened here, and so on and so forth. And Isolde will like be counting up the footsteps and say, I can't really tell if this is a 3-on-3 or a 5-on-1 or two. For this is so mixed up, I can't really figure out. Do you have a better read on it?
Yeah, let me give a look at those footsteps. It's kind of traced from the entrance of the alley. So it looks like, there's multiple people who came in here all at once, and then one more followed them, or at least there was a group that came here, and then someone else came in and was probably the perpetrator of all this. You see those footsteps there, and then they come in here, and then everyone kind of gets. You see how they just kind of group up
Yes, yeah, I see right there. Okay, yeah. Just I'm just finding it hard to believe that one person did all this. I think they
Some
they may have
people are.
been like on some sort of enhancing substance. Maybe we can
It's
try to track
possible.
down that way.
Yeah, we could see if there's any local drugs that have popped up. It's not like I don't have experience with that,
Of course.
chasing all
Okay.
that stuff down. Uh, it looks. I mean, there's so little blood too. It's got to have been a blunt weapon. So I can't tell if murder was the idea here, or they were just beating some guys up. What do you
Yeah,
think?
the motive is definitely the biggest mystery here.
So they were right. I mean, we saw the police reports. They're all thugs that got picked up. Their stories didn't really match from what I heard, though.
Hmm.
Some of them claimed there was one guy, other them claimed there were two. It's
You
it's
think we have
definitely,
a bit of a vigilante on our hands then?
yeah, probably if it was just known thugs that got beaten up. Like this isn't a large neighborhood. These guys are pretty well known as being kind of shitheads. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not shedding any tears over them getting beaten up, but vigilante justice isn't exactly you know what we do here.
In the middle of this conversation, let's go ahead and pause, and you can roll your sanity check to see how well this fulfill responsibilities go. This will help determine how the rest of the conversation goes. Okay, so you can improve the bond by 1d6.
Nice.
Lol,
Of course.
Of course, improve by 1.
It can only max out at 9 right now anyway, so.
Fair enough. I'd also like you to make a second sanity test. Okay. You are going to lose 1 point of sanity as you suddenly drop what you were holding, which I'll let you describe what that was.
Probably a notebook and pencil.
Okay, so you drop that in the mud and have to scramble to pick it up. As just this panic wells up within you, and it's like all of your organs constrict together, and like your adrenaline kicks to the max out of absolutely nowhere. You don't know what is causing this. It's like you're just suddenly having a panic attack out of nowhere, and you just have to settle down. You manage to stifle a scream, but you really wanted to for a second there, and after a few seconds it starts to fade. But as your ears are ringing and you're having a hard time focusing on what's going on around you, as you come back to your senses, Isolde is there like, Will, are you okay? What was that? You just got a hand like on your shoulder, just looking at you concerned.
I don't know. I just all of a sudden there was this ringing and my guts just felt like there was a knife in them. It's gone now, but I've never felt that before.
Well, let's get you out of the rain. Let's get you out of the rain. Nothing's ever happened like that before. Do you think we should get you looked at?
I can check in my next checkup, but if it happens again tonight, probably have to go to urgent care or something to be sure. I don't know. Maybe
Okay.
I ate something weird.
Hopefully it's just that, huh?
Hopefully.
Wait, let's get out of the rain. Let's get out of the rain. And I think we'll zoom up on that scene as you two are like walking across the street to like a cafe that's there or something, and just getting out of the rain, just being more chill and just having a chat and stuff. So you spent some time with Isolde. You've worked on that bond. You're just doing more of your normal sort of detective agency work here, and yeah, things are going well there. You didn't add a massive amount to the bond, but yeah, generally positive. And something weird happened there. What was that? A few months later, Can you describe not a home scene like mechanically, but just a normal moment in Hallow's day? Just like maybe picking up coffee or like eating breakfast or um, anything that's just like, a very mundane part of the day.
Eh, Probably part of his normal morning routine is going over all of the open case files that they have in their little PI office, cataloging them, making sure that they're all still where they're supposed to be and we're not missing any details.
Okay, so as you're cataloging, you're flipping through these files, you're making sure everything's supposed to be. Suddenly, you feel that feeling welling up in you again, and please roll me another sanity test.
Yay.
Yay! This time, lose 6 points of sanity. You may project, as always, but otherwise that will become a temporary insanity of some kind, some sort of fight, flight, or freeze response.
I think yeah, I'll just take all of it and we'll freeze.
Okay. You're going through these files and suddenly you freeze as this feeling wells up in you again, and the same sort of feeling of losing your senses and not being aware of your surroundings and stuff kind of overwhelms you. But this time, instead of like nothing and being overwhelmed by these just impulses, these feelings, you actually see something else. You are like swept away and you see a powerful vision, memory, something of that nature. And it's far more vivid than anything like this that's ever happened to you before, if it has. Um, and you are standing in a small clearing deep in the woods of, I don't know, probably Vermont is what it kind of looks like. And you're there with the rest of your team, except it's not Hestia, it's Hematite, but it's Hematite, High Tide, and Hunter. And Hematite has just finished putting together a ritual. There are some leaves scattered on the ground at different locations. There's a fire burning. Hematite has been singing a song while throwing some plants onto the fire and creating different smoke. And then, as she finishes the last element of this song, instantly, one of those octahedron things floats above the clearing. Small circle opens up on it. Two of those dog things come out, and they float down to the ground in front of you. And though you may feel some fear at seeing these, none of you don't feel in this memory like a sense of violence, like these things are here, I need to kill them. It feels like this is a tense discussion we're about to have. They touch down, and they speak in a manner that's like not exactly right. It feels like they speak with what sounds like recorded and played back over a radio, human voices saying different words in different contexts, so the inflection's all wrong. Like the actual tones of what they're saying is all wrong. It's multiple voices saying each word. Sometimes they even have like multiple recordings of different people saying the same word in different ways overlapped over each other. It's very hard to understand socially to you, but you can kind of get the meaning of what they're trying to convey when they speak to you. And whenever you speak back to them, it takes a long time for them to understand it, and they kind of converse with each other in some other form you can't quite tell, but they just kind of chitter back and forth with each other and then turn back to you. These things, these fungal chitinous bug things that are like ever shifting, and now that you get a closer look at them, the two of them they don't even look that similar to each other. It looks like one of them has these big wings in the back, and the other one appears more like it's got a bunch of legs on the ground, and it doesn't have the wings at all, but still seems to be able to fly. They seem to be different in many different ways. And the fungus across their body is like ever changing and shifting in color, and occasionally it'll even like fade out and fade in as if it wasn't there at all, and it's just like an illusion or a hologram or something. But the extent of the conversation that you hear here is that there is a monster. It's their fault, and they need to take care of it. And after being alerted to the problem, they agree, they go back to their ship, and that's the end of the memory. You come back to your senses, standing in front of this filing cabinet, going through your files, making sure everything's in order.
What the? I thought this was over. God damn it. Uh, Hallow will pick up his phone and he probably, let's see. Actually, here's a question. Would he still have the number that Hematite had called him from during the last opera?
I think you'd
Is
have
he
it,
one?
yeah.
So I think he would try to dial it after seeing
Dial the
that
number.
vision.
The phone rings for a number, like it's not immediately, oh, you've reached a disconnected number or anything like that. It rings. And it rings for a lot of rings. Like normally a lot of lines you try to connect to would just go to an answering machine by now, but this one doesn't. It just continues to ring. A few rings too long until it starts to get a little unsettling to you and you're like, is anyone on the other end of this line? And then Joanna, what would Hematite be doing on just a random Tuesday, like in the middle of the day? Working the shop, maybe?
We saying she has her, let's see what's going on. Yeah, I think left to her own devices, Hematite would have spent a little bit of time repairing bonds with her store partner and her life partner and would be working the shop.
Okay. Let's go with that then. So you're at the shop and you receive this call.
And it's from my personal number. It's on my personal number, right?
Yes.
Hello?
Hi, this is still Sapphire, right? It's been a few years. This is Will Calder.
Will. Right. Yes. Okay.
I think we went to an opera once.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course. Sorry. It's been a while since I've heard that name.
Are you going by a different one now, or?
Oh, not Sapphire. Will.
Oh, yeah. So our last opera, the last opera I was in, wrapped up a few years ago, but I don't think it's over. I saw a memory that I don't remember having, and you were there, which doesn't make sense because you weren't there for me. Not you know what I mean. The weird
Saying we're from
stuff,
different branches of the same organization?
different branches of time.
Well, yeah, but if you're being all cryptic.
But yes, it looked like it was part of, you know, and the players were there, we were there, and so were their dogs. But they weren't hostile. We just talked.
For
It's
GM, do I still have my notebook in this version?
I think you do. However, it probably has completely different stuff in it because I think in this version of reality, we established that going to Montpelier was your first opera as this character. You met up with agents Halo and Hawk, I believe their names were,
and Hunter.
And Hunter, correct. And that was your group essentially. That was like your starting out. You were a friendly. You got upgraded to agent. That was your first opera. So you probably have details on it there, but it was a slightly different series of events there.
Okay. Yeah. Hematite's still hematite. She's still a conspiracy theorist from the get-go. So she definitely would have recorded it and done her best to encode things.
Yeah.
Okay. Have I gone on any other operas since then?
Yeah, we'll say you have. I think that makes sense. You've
Okay.
gone on an opera where you went out to the woods to chase down a man named Cooter McGee, a lobotomy patient who escaped into the woods, and seemingly is still alive like 90 years later, or whatever, like 60 years later, and is just out there living as like a Bigfoot type, like just completely hairy and dirty and like not caring about any societal rules of any kind. But again, somehow just living out there. So you went out to find him and instead found some kind of massive monster that was not a tackleable problem. And so you had to call in some help, thanks to a tape you had found in your previous opera.
Does that happen to be the same monster that I believe Hunter and I saw in our vision?
It may.
So I called in some help from a tape I found in the first opera.
Indeed, a tape you found in a green box.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So I would then say, yeah, I know. Like, been working on it.
Wait, you played the tape?
I wouldn't have told him that
Oh, sorry.
because you just said that the things from that first opera are still in the present with their dogs.
Yeah, so
Would I know
they
the
were
connection to dogs?
maybe not. I don't think Hallow knows that
No.
this is a
You-
fresher hematite.
We've been calling them dogs this whole time because you haven't learned any other name for them, but the only reason we called them dogs in the first place was because of the original first opera, which this version of Hematite hasn't been on. So maybe you just call them aliens or something, or monsters, or some other name.
Wait.
Would be aware of those things, because the opera in Montpelier was still about that.
Okay. So I could maybe put two and two together if he's talking about companion friends.
Yeah, you may have actually uncovered a few extra details in the Montpelier opera just to connect some
Okay.
dots here and make it easier. The fungus in the water was one of those things, right? So you are aware of those things, whatever they are, the weird fungus thingies.
Mhm.
And yeah, you know they're called star people by some, and all of that.
Okay. So I would say, um, yeah, I've been working with those guests on a different opera.
The guests, that's fascinating. I've only seen the guests hostile, but you have them.
Well, there was a thing in a green box, and then I went on another opera, and it turns out the thing was, if you're gonna call them their companions dogs, then let's call this a feral mastiff. And it wasn't something I could handle or anyone in my network. So I called for outside help.
And the outside help was the others.
Yeah, the ones who really like stars.
So that's what I saw, actually. Was I guess it wasn't you. It was a different you. It was my you. And the rest of my friends had called our friends from the stars, and they had said that they had accidentally caused the feral mastiff themselves.
Would that comport with my reality?
Yes.
Yeah, you've got the right of it, though. Don't know how. If right, okay. One sec. This is gonna be a little rough. Let me get somewhere more private. I am going to do the really nasty headachy thing and dig into my memories and see if I can uncover a little bit more of this person on the phone said that they were hostile. I want to dig into the other hematites' memories because I've been able to do a little bit of that before. That's how I remembered this number, anyways.
Yeah. Okay.
It's been a while. I've mostly been ignoring it, but I want to deal with that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go into our storage warehouse. So if I make any noise.
Okay. So at this point, things are starting to move along so much. I don't even need a roll for this. If you want to try and remember, you can try and remember, and it works. So when you try and remember, it feels like a very bad idea. As you start to reach out, like your instincts start to scream at you not to do this, but you feel like it would be extremely easy to do this, which is maybe why your instincts are kicking in like this is a trap.
Hmm. Seems so bad idea, but
You can still do it, just letting you know, but like it's just warning you ahead of time, that's all.
yeah, fair. I appreciate it. Hematite's kind of stubborn. And she's always been curious. I think she's gonna go for it.
Okay. Roll me a sanity test, please.
Am I still using the hematite stats from before?
Yeah, we can just keep using that. I mean, we're not going to track hematite probably too. We're using hematite for now. We might as well. So hematite will only lose 1 point of sanity for this, but you try to remember. Your unnatural skill goes up by 1. Just a fun little fact. And
my natural and my sanity are the same number.
Oh my god. That's terrifying in both directions. And yeah, I think you suddenly get a flash of the barn and like the star people floating above, sending lightning down, murdering your allies multiple times through multiple versions of reality. And in fact, most of you can fairly easily recall a couple times that it happened. Hematite, in this moment, you suddenly recall hundreds of times that had happened in various different ways. You see like Hunter driving a truck through the wall of one of the buildings to hit one of them. You see like you had acquired grenades and you were throwing grenades around and like all sorts of different strategies you had tried, but like so many times it just ended in death for you and your companions. Some of the versions of reality, you even saw that you succeeded and proceeded onwards, but still, like many iterations of this.
Okay. Well,
I think I'll add one more in there. Sorry, you remember also a couple scenes where when you had called down the star people to help with the situation with the monster in the woods. At least one time, one of your companions you had with you, which may or may not have been a player character here, it may have been like Halo or Hawk or like a completely other NPC. Maybe even one time you went in with like an armed SWAT team and all sorts of stuff. Somebody drew a weapon and pointed it at the star people, and then they attacked immediately. Like there were occasions like that too, where people just picked the wrong option and got a little too aggressive with the star people, and they struck back quite swiftly. So lots of instances of them being violent, yes.
Okay. So the sense I got was they respond very violently to any form of aggression.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we respond to fear with aggression.
What do you know?
Okay. Fuck. Okay. Yeah. Whoa.
You okay?
We work for the same organization, right?
Pretty sure. It's, not the organization it used to be. It's a little bit more official now, right?
Yeah. So okay is very relative.
Very.
I How many times do you remember being at the barn with the lightning?
At least 2. I haven't dwelled on it a lot. I haven't really wanted to.
Okay, well, I just got a couple dozen iterations of that, plus a few more of the clearing with the Mastiff.
I only have one of those.
Turns out, Star people and humans really volatile combination. We respond to fear with defensiveness. They respond to anything that could potentially seen as aggression with more aggression. I think I may have locked onto like one of the few slightly peaceful branches this time.
Well, that's good. Anything come of it? You say that we're compatible,
Man,
but
that's. Whew, I gotta tread lightly, I guess.
so they've got a feral mastiff, and they wanted if they were going to deal with it, or they want our help.
Something like that. I couldn't deal with it, and because I didn't know what it was, I thought I was looking for an escaped mental patient who essentially let himself go and turned into a cryptid.
Oh gosh, no, my last one was just
Like
in.
if you're brave enough, you turn into Cousin It, and then people might think you're Bigfoot if you're just hiding out in the woods.
Poor guy just wanted to live in the woods.
But found the Mastiff instead.
Yeah, I mean we found a mastiff on the last one. It didn't look the same, but it was definitely a mastiff.
Yeah. Where?
Montpelier.
Yeah, where?
In the water.
Oh, was that GM? Was that one of the out of control ones, or was that an in control one?
That is a difficult question. I don't know that you ever, like any of your iterations, ever attempted to do any kind of communication with it other than just going down there and burning it. But it seemed to not try to talk to you or anything like that. If that makes sense.
Okay.
But yeah. I suppose out of control is a closer answer, but it wasn't like on a rampage. It was sitting quietly, letting its influence expand.
Okay. And did this version of hematite deal with Montpelier in the same way?
Yes, I think details of how it went were
Yeah.
different, but it was still the
Hematite
same problem when you
uttered her
solved the
a little
problem.
bit of a pyro, I think. I don't think that's gonna change just because she's done less burning.
Yeah, so you took the grenades down, you lit the thing on fire. Yeah, the end.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. M- my branch also did that, but it was me, Hunter, Hawk, and who was the other person?
Halo.
Halo.
Hmm.
Any of those ring a bell?
Yeah, actually, I think I met Hawk and Halo in Montpelier.
Okay. No Hunter?
Yeah, I've known Hunter the whole time. He's been part of my opera group from the get-go.
Okay. So Hunter, Hawk, and Halo were my opera group, and you were a figment of a hallucination that I went on with a hunch. Sorry, I know that sounds quite weird when I say it that way.
No, I mean, I've
Um,
seen and heard
what
weirder, I
about
think.
what about High Tide? Is he real too?
Yeah, High Tide is also real. Uh, he wasn't doing so hot, but he's real. Okay, so we know that
Yeah,
the
definitely
Mastiff is
seems like
real.
you guys have been to the opera a few more times than I have. I just had the one at Montpelier and the more recent one.
Okay, so we know that there's a feral Mastiff, and I think I gotta call the guys. Thank you. Be safe.
Uh, you too. Should I call my team?
If that Mastiff isn't taken care of on your branch, it probably needs to be. I wouldn't be surprised if you were hearing from the organizers sooner than later.
Okay.
As far as you know, hematite, that was your last opera, as you took care of it.
Okay. Yeah, we did take care of it. I guess keep me updated on how it goes on your end.
Yeah, if I can. But you've dealt with the Mastiff already on your end?
Yeah, with the front.
Okay. Oh, I wonder if this is something
Though
more.
it seems like you might be locked out of that version.
Maybe. We'll see. I'll, I have to link up with the other guys. I need to know if they've seen anything too.
All right. Best of luck to you. Oh, do you know where my shop is?
Yes, I do. And if I don't, I have a friend who does. Should I try and stop by? I don't.
Might be worth it.
I can certainly try. I don't expect to
I
find you there because the you I knew, you know.
hmm. Okay. Uh um do you have something to write with?
Yeah. Yeah, he turns around and like grabs a piece of paper and a pencil off the table.
Okay. This is gonna get. And are you in a secure location?
Pure enough. Private eye office.
Okay. So the key is every third word.
Okay.
matters. And then I am following that. I'm going to read my journal entry, inserting 2 words of gibberish in between.
Okay.
Of course, Hematite's gonna break the streams.
Of course.
So she is going to tell this half-remembered Hello all about the whatever it was she dealt with the Star People and
All right.
how it went down for them. And also she will add a separate entry for her memories that she's like of the different streams. Because now she has a backup in a different dimension, and that seems really important to her.
All right. Understood.
So that'll probably take a while, but when
Yeah.
it's done, Hallow will have 2/3 gibberish, 1/3 actually useful stuff.
Hello, if you could roll for me a d20. Okay. You're going to lose 5 points of sanity and gain 5 points of unnatural
Okay.
as this knowledge transfer takes place. You don't understand all of the implications of what Hematite tells you, but you start to piece some things together and you start to figure out some of the unintelligible reality that lies beyond the reality you know. The reality that
Screaming
defies understanding.
scheme,
Yes.
as he thinks of it, from all those times that we died.
And additionally, I'll assume that phone call wraps up eventually, unless either of you have more to add to it.
I think that's about it. The
Nope.
pleasantries.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's about it.
I
I
will.
guess tell your team I say hey will probably be the last thing.
Yeah.
I will add one detail you do notice, Hallow, in the journal you have copied over. The last entry that was read to you, the most recent entry, matches today's date exactly. The same year, the same day, everything.
Sorry, say that again?
The last entry of the journal that is transmitted to you, the date of it is today. It is exactly the day that Hallow exists in. It is the same date, the same year, all of that.
And this was ostensibly when Hematite had called the Sky People with her opera group. Right.
It was whatever Hematite was writing about today, I think.
Oh, okay, so it seems like time is synced now,
Yes.
at least.
That is what I was attempting to get across, yes. But slightly more cryptically because flavor. Yeah, it was a more a journal entry that had some like ideas in it and stuff, but not actually like today we went and killed a mastiff. Okay, so you got that, and for having that long drawn out conversation with somebody from a different timeline, roll me a sanity check, please.
Both of us?
Yeah, why not? We can include Hematite in there.
Hollow's losing all the sanity that he's held on to.
5 points of sanity for both of you.
I think I'll push this one.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah. Can I push it onto Hematite?
Fair enough.
That makes a lot of sense, honestly. So we'll go with that. Okay.
Right.
I guess the next question is, do you go to Hematite's shop at any point within the next couple months?
I think you would at least drive past it. or walk past to see if he sees anyone inside that he recognizes.
Okay, so you drive past or walk past, and it is still open. Somebody is still running it, but you don't see Hematite at the counter. You see one of Hematite's bonds, who was running the store with her, that I don't know you ever met, so I don't know if you recognize them, but we, the audience, would recognize Miranda Tressum, the store partner. So she is still there, still keeping the store alive, but Hematite is nowhere to be found.
For Hematite, what does it mean when the sanity is red?
Good question. I've never
That
gotten
sounds like a fun question.
I have 2 points of sanity left.
That's
as
very
Hematite,
fitting.
at least.
For, yeah,
Unless this Hematite didn't take quite as much damage, in which case. I've just been combining the 2 Hematites, but I guess that's what she's been doing with herself, so.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if it means anything in particular. It just the danger zone, maybe. If another character in the group gets that low, we can check into it. But
I
Hematite's
think
kind
it's
of
a breaking point.
Oh, that could make sense. But that's okay. We don't need to go that deep into Hematite as a
Fair enough.
main
yeah.
character, but Hematite is still part of the story, so good to track that sanity. So Hematite at this point is barely clinging to reality now. Like Hematite is aware of many realities, may or may not believe that this current reality is like the most important one. Maybe a different one is the most important one. Like you're just starting to lose it. And maybe you've already started that by transmitting your journal to a different branch. You think maybe that's the important one. Maybe I'm not in the important one, and so on. But anyways, now that that's past us, some excellent role playing and figuring things out between you. Some good information gathered. A few months pass. It is a Tuesday. A Tuesday in, we'll say, May. I actually don't remember what year this is, sadly. I want to say 2006. Some time has passed since your last opera. I don't know what day in I'm not prepared. What day in May would be a Tuesday, but it's a Tuesday in May, 2006. And it's 10 a.m. Can each of you describe a scene you are in at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday? Yes, a Tuesday in it. Starting with Hunter. What would Hunter be doing at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday?
He's probably at the corner gas station getting coffee after doing things he shouldn't have been doing the previous night.
All right, so we'll see you just filling up a cup of coffee. High Tide, what are you doing at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday? May.
10 a.m. on a Tuesday in May. I'm sitting at my desk, typing away at my computer.
All right. Hestia, 10 a.m. on a Tuesday in May.
Working on my feet, doing whatever's yeah.
Okay. Just at the hospital?
Yep.
All right, and Hallow.
Hallow is probably at 10 a.m. He's probably chasing down some lead or something on whatever minor case he's following.
Yeah. Makes sense. You're chasing down a lead. All of you feel that same piercing panic once again. All at exactly 10 a.m. The clock strikes 10. That is the precise moment this happens. Perhaps each of you happen to note this time in one way or another. Maybe Hunter happens to glance up at the clock while pouring his coffee. High Tide glances at the clock on his computer screen in the corner. Hestia is checking her watch to figure out like what's the next task. Like, is there something coming up soon? Maybe rushing to get somewhere because it's 10 a.m. and you need to get to an appointment or something, or give someone else an appointment. Hallow, maybe you are just noting down the time because like you found a clue at a certain point, and so you just start scribbling down like, okay, this was found at this time, so that you properly. It's like, oh, it's exactly 10 a.m. Okay, and then boom, this hits all of you. That pain, that fear, that wanting to escape from your own body, that wanting to escape from reality, that roaring thunder in the background, the blinding lights in front of you, you get another little vision. All of you. And you all see the same thing, though you may have to confirm this with each other later. You see a pretty large structure. A building that has been torn open. It's surrounded by a thick concrete wall stretching out very far into woods around it with a gate. It's a very impressive looking, very secure building that's out completely remote from society. Tucked away, not easy to get to. You see this place. There is a massive dome that has been cracked open, and out of it are pouring these tendrils of shadow. They almost look like the northern lights, but instead of light, they are darkness. They are like fire in slow motion, slowly twisting and twinkling through the air, fading in and out in different parts, but dark, pure blackness swirling out of the crack in this dome as they reach up into the air. You hear that thunder once again. And you see just all the stars in the sky are glowing brighter and brighter and brighter. And then you wake up. And perhaps Hunter's coffee cup is overflowing. His hand's gotten slightly burnt. High Tide has been holding down a key on his keyboard and has just entered in a ton of the same character, just maybe H's over and over and over again. Hestia has maybe been holding onto a patient's arm trying to read their pulse for quite too long at this point. And they're starting to try and get your attention. And Hollow, you've had this clue in your hand, maybe putting it into an evidence bag, and it's just kind of halfway in as you've been sitting there frozen. You come back to your senses. Do any of you have immediate reactions to this?
Hestia probably was literally on her way to an appointment because she's running late. So she just found herself staring in the standing in the hallway, and people are giving her looks because you don't stand in hallways as an emergency room nurse.
Yeah.
So I think she shakes herself, apologizes, looks at her watch, and then just sprints. Doesn't have time to deal with this. Can sort it out later. She was on her way to deal with an emergency, a surgery that was supposed to start, and now she's really late, so she's got to go.
Makes sense. Anyone else?
Was this the same thunderclap that we heard the last time we were hit with lightning?
Yes, there has been a recurring sound that some of you have heard more than others when you've been seeing visions like this. This recurring thunder. And it's not like a single strike of thunder. It's like thunder rolling over itself, eternally being created by something that's just generating endless thunder. Not like a single clap of it that's echoing, but just roiling air. Just everything is vibrating at some kind of intense frequency. But it also sounds like maybe there's some sort of rhythm to it, but it's a rhythm so complex you cannot begin to grasp it. It just sounds like random peaks and valleys in the sound and weirdness like that. But it is some kind of rolling thunder.
Hollow finishes putting this piece of evidence away and rushes back to his office to unlock the safe and pull out his copy of Hematite's notebook to see if there's anything about this in there.
Roll me your unnatural skill.
Oh, another question. I don't think I ever rolled for my skills after the last opera.
Oh, yes, you can hit the button to automatically convert.
Great.
Good point.
Okay, and now I'll do my unnatural.
Wars.
Oh, I almost succeeded.
Almost. That's 5% chance you almost had it. That's very close. You start digging through the notes and you don't see anything about this. Perhaps whatever version of hematite you contacted hadn't experienced this precise phenomenon yet.
Okay.
Or maybe it was only for her, she dismissed it as like part of her journey of searching through the memories, and it was just part of her headache.
Yeah, possibly. Either
But
way,
either way, she didn't notate it.
yes. Not something you were able to pick up from the notes. Perhaps hematite did include it in the notes in some cryptic way, and you just weren't able to interpret it properly or something. But regardless, you don't uncover it due to the unnatural skill.
I feel like it's fitting for High Tide that I was just holding a button on my keyboard.
Yeah.
I just like wake up and I look at my document and I just start hitting the delete.
Yep. Another day in the office.
Hunter just puts the very full cup down, wipes his hand on his jeans, and just leaves. Goes home, sits down, and stares at his phone, just expecting it's gonna ring at any moment.
And indeed, you sit down and stare at your phone. And I think our perspective kind of narrows on the phone a little bit over time, indicating time passing a little bit as Hunter sits here. And at precisely 11 a.m., all of you get a call. The calls are different for each of you. Perhaps they sound like a spam call, a wrong number, telemarketing of some kind. Perhaps they are just gibberish, or perhaps they're a prank call. But in one way or another, all of these calls are unusual in a way that is hard to pick up on, but is clearly weird enough that you think Delta Green wants your attention. That's for being covertly contacted. And indeed, upon we can let's skip over let's skip over a little bit of details here. We'll say you all contact your handler at that point. After getting your attention, you all use your secure communication lines, whether it's like an encrypted phone line or whatever, an online chat that's encrypted or something. You all have methods at this point to contact Grace. Grace tells you all you have plane tickets already waiting for you. You need to get to Chicago immediately. Leave now.
Chicago? Like the whole city Chicago? Or
we'll say you need to get to a specific airport in Chicago where you will have a briefing. Airports are in Chicago, but
Midway and O'Hare. O'Hare is large and has a Smithsonian museum inside of it. Midway's a little more out of the way.
let's go with O'Hare then. I think it's very large and has a museum, and that sounds like a fun setting.
I've been to O'Hare once.
So O'Hare, you're going to meet within O'Hare. You're going to meet Grace and have a briefing. So,
All right.
how do each of you remove yourselves from your current responsibilities, if any, or current situation?
I
Sounds like-
think
Hunter
Oh,
just pays for next month's rent and leaves. He's raw dogging the flight.
All right.
I think Hestia would say, can you arrange, since I've done some consulting work with the FBI, can you arrange a emergency call for me?
Oh, yeah, more consulting.
Yeah, I'm on shift right now. I can't just leave the ER without a really good reason.
Oh, I see. Okay, I misinterpreted this. I thought you were asking ER staff to help with this. No, okay, you're asking Grace. No. Okay, yes.
Yeah. While on the phone with Grace, she's going to essentially ask for a Delta Green version of a doctor's note to get her out of class.
Already arranged.
All right. As soon as it goes through to my supervisor, I'll go check with my supervisor now and head out.
Move swiftly, Agent.
Will do.
You
And
arrive at your super.
will-
Yes.
Yeah, page the supervisor, head out.
I think maybe you get to their office at the exact moment that they are getting an email, and as you walk in, they look at you like confused at the coincidence and just say, like, okay, yeah, go.
And then I turn and sprint, and it's not unusual to be kind of moving quickly as long as you follow protocol.
Make sense?
I feel like High Tide would kind of do the same thing, but after calling on the last opera and his boss being like, well, I don't know, just ask your FBI friends, I would walk in and say, FBI, and he's like, yeah, I guess, because he's been giving me crap for the past like year. Like, oh, your FBI doesn't want you.
Yeah. Yeah, I already know. Get out of here. And I assume you leave.
Yep.
And
then
Hollow. Yeah. Go ahead.
Hollow gets back to his office, and at this point, Isolde's probably there. She's doing some work of some form or another. So he pops in and is like, hey, here's that evidence for that case that we're working on. I got a call from the government. They're calling me in again for another case.
Okay.
I'm really sorry to drop this last one on you, just kind of like this. But I'll be back as soon as I can.
No, I get it. I understand. Just bring me on one of these one time if you can. You know, I'd like the networking too. I'm sure you do interesting stuff out there. You can never talk about it.
I don't know if you want to see some of this stuff, but I can always ask if they're looking for another person.
Great. That's all I'm looking for. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. I'll see you when I get back.
Good luck.
Thanks. He takes off.
All right. Can I get each of you to roll a sanity test from
Oh, good.
that's a whole series of events. The rush
Oh, that's
out,
good.
the so on and so forth. Themselves. Okay, those of you who succeeded are going
Doing
to pick
really
one.
nice on sanity right now.
Yes, 1 point for those who succeeded, 6 points for those who failed.
I'm gonna push that onto a bond.
Yeah, fair.
Don't want to go insane at the beginning of a mission.
I'm gonna
Gotta
push 3
save
points
that
of
for
that
the
on
end.
High Tide, destroying the bond.
No. Excellent.
I can't bear to face him again.
Oh, that's good. So you push that, and yeah, you'll get on planes. It's a few hour trip over there, and you arrive, and the briefing is at 3 p.m. Yes, 3 p.m. As you all arrive from your various airlines, you all probably had to drive out to individual airports and such, and eventually get here. And you are, you're notified of the meeting room you'll be meeting in, and Grace is already in there. And it's the familiar Delta Green meeting room situation where it's just a bunch of metal chairs laid out in a room so you all can sit around, get this meeting over with quickly, and move on. Welcome, agents. Hello. We don't have much time.
Do we ever?
No, I guess not, but sometimes we have more time than others. It appears this one is a bit urgent. I unfortunately can't tell you exactly why, but I can tell you some things.
Can you not tell us because you don't know, or because it's just that classified?
It's that classified, exactly. So, this morning, there was an incident that led us to believe there are issues happening at the Olympium Holobeam Array. It's a new high-tech physics lab here in Chicago in the suburbs. And it's run by MIT and the University of Chicago. We believe something is happening there imminently, and we need to stop it. This is high priority. It needs to be stopped before it happens, not suppressed after it happens. So, we need you on the ground there. You're our specialists for this. Are any of you aware of the holographic principle? This fairly strange theory.
No.
I don't think so.
You may have gotten cut out, Hestia.
Oh, would Hestia be aware of it?
Do you have an applicable science skill trained?
I've got biology and medicine and pharmacy and first aid.
I think if you had physics or something like that, you might know, but it would have to be a very high level physics.
I have computer science.
Yeah, I don't think that's super applicable. That's okay. She'll explain at least some details to you. No, I can see by the stares you're giving me and the couple answers. I don't know much about it myself, but it's what they're studying there, and you should know the idea at least. They're studying a theory that has never been proven before. No evidence has ever been gathered for it, but it's one of those cases where we have new technology now. We can potentially gather new evidence we couldn't before, so we should retread old ground just to make sure that our new technology doesn't pick up on things we didn't have before, and so on. The theory is that, well, like a hologram, if you can imagine a two-dimensional object, like a lens, emitting a hologram above it that is three-dimensional, the theory goes that all of time and space are sort of a holographic projection of another like lesser dimensional shape outside of reality, sort of like the edges of reality or some sort of external thing to reality that is of fewer dimensions than reality is projecting reality in its higher dimensional state. Following so far?
I can't understand anything that you're trying to say.
Hal is
That's
starting to have
okay.
kind of a
I don't think I
distant...
need to, though, do I?
Yeah. Hal's having sort of a distant gaze, thinking about branches.
Suppose this is to like multiverse?
Not so much that, I suppose, but I don't know too much about it. It's more that,
So,
our...
like, our 3D reality is like a screen projection, like from somebody's lecture?
Yeah, you could think of it that way.
Okay, like, sure. Okay, that kind of makes sense. But what if they, like, change the slide?
That's what we're trying to find out, I suppose. Anyways, the details are above my head, honestly. I just know the very basics of what they do there. I was given an elevator pitch so that I could deliver that to you all. You can ask the physicists there if you want more details, I'm sure. But we need you there. We need you to make sure that whatever is happening there, any kind of anomalies, they don't happen in the future. And this morning, just a small time ago, the array went offline for a brief moment and then came back. There was some sort of disturbance in the power. Some things are weird over there. We're hearing some mixed reports of things being okay and some people being suspicious of things. And just get over there and make sure everything's okay. Shut down anything you can. Honestly, if it comes to it, shut that whole place down. Keep everything offline there. Eliminate all communications. Just this is a bad event, agents. This is not something we can allow to happen. If it comes to it, this is a situation where you may need to be prepared for extreme measures.
I flick open a lighter.
Yes, like that, but I don't think the materials of the building will be. Oh, you'll see when you get there. It's
what
mostly
kind of
concrete.
material can you provide beforehand, just in case of that situation?
Well, did all of you bring? Are all of you armed? I guess not all of you are actual
No,
FBI
I was
agents.
not able to bring my guns on the plane.
No, you're an
I
actual
assumed
FBI
that you
agent.
knew
Hello?
that would happen.
Yes, I didn't know if you found a way otherwise, but we can provide you each at least small arms.
Sidearm will be enough, hopefully. Unless we're dealing with any actors like we have before.
If you insist on something stronger, we can try and get it for you, but we do want to try and settle this peacefully if possible.
If we can have at least something like a shotgun available, just in case. We don't have to go in with it, but if that can be staged, like in a security checkpoint, I think I would be okay with that.
Absolutely, we will have a shotgun planted at the security checkpoint at the main gate.
Perfect.
Oh, I went through so much to get new guns, and now I don't even have them.
I do have my medical kit in a suitcase. I need to pick it up from baggage claim.
Yes. Yes, you should go. You should get that, but we should go over the last details here. You all will be cleared under the cover of an inspection team for the Department of Energy, who funds this facility. You are going to review the site and its records for wrongdoing. You may not have complete clearance. This is not like a warrant for you to go and search through everything. So they may try to withhold some things with you, but you'll just have to make do. Figure out what's really going on over there. We're not quite sure. You're our first team in there in quite some time. Your cover identities were kind of constructed in a hurry, unfortunately. We browsed through we borrowed some names of employee numbers that are deceased or retired and so on and so forth. Try not to get those investigated too deeply if you can. They'll pass brief inspection, but if anyone starts looking you up, they might find holes in our backgrounds. This was all put together in less than an hour, so we're doing our best.
Understand that. All right, then. Once more onto the breach.
Once more into the breach, and agents, if you can, try not to get any local law enforcement involved. That worked out for you last time. It was a gamble. It paid off. This time, I don't think it'll work so well.
I don't have many good thoughts about Chicago PD anyway, so I'm not trying to call them.
Excellent.
Helen's just thinking back to some missing persons cases in Chicago and some very less than helpful cops.
Yeah. Well, you all have my number. If you need to contact me at any point, absolutely do so.
Whereabouts in Chicago is this place? Is it like in the middle of the city? Is it on the outskirts?
On the outskirts. It's buried a little bit out into some woods near some residential areas, but far enough away that nobody complains about the big concrete building and the government lab polluting their chemicals or whatever.
Do we have a rental car arranged then?
Yes, we have an unmarked Department of Energy issued sedan.
Okay.
You'll find your service pistols in the back.
I think Hestia's probably... No, Hestia is very, very wide-eyed. She doesn't quite know what extreme measures are, and she's kind of afraid to ask.
Well, yeah, that's fair.
Hestia, if you remember, we thermited at the end of our last opera. I think that's the level of extreme we're talking about.
Okay.
I'm still just flicking a lighter open and closed.
Very well. You should get out there as soon as possible. Our intel suggests that if something is happening, it's happening tonight, so you have limited time.
All right, off we go.
So you set out. When you guys get to that unmarked sedan, which is probably parked here at the airport, you do see the service pistols. They are semi-automatic. They do 1d10 damage. They each have 3 extra magazines and 1 magazine already in them. So if anyone wants to record that on their sheets, well, I can try to get you the stats between sessions, but we'll work that out. So each will at least have that. Yes.
How much ammo do we have?
Can you repeat the damage and lethality?
It is 1d10 damage, not lethality.
If you just grab a medium pistol in the equipment, like the little search thing, grab a medium pistol, it's 1d10.
Perfect.
Okay.
And you each have... It's loaded, and you have 3 extra magazines each. Each one is issued with a license in the name of your cover identity. The back also has 2 handheld Geiger counters. There is a medical bag with an electronic personal dosimeter, first aid kit, medicines for radiation poisoning, and so on. So you can, you have some tools to deal with radiation poisoning here. You were not briefed on radiation in the briefing, but it sounds like, this is a just-in-case kind of measure. You don't know what's going on in a weird physics lab. Especially one that's trying to break reality, right?
Yeah, I think at this point, Hestia's, desperately trying to rack her mind from her med school exams.
Yes.
Remember, what do you do to treat radiation?
Oops.
High Tide just takes a shot. Wow. Just shoots a random pedestrian. Okay, that'll be a distraction. Nope. Okay. And so you head out towards the Olympian Holobeam Array. It takes you actually a while to get there. A, because the briefing took a while, and B, just because there's traffic and stuff. You end up arriving at the array at about 5 o'clock p.m. And as you drive up, you have to drive through about 16 acres of woodland to get there. And it's semi-rural land. And it's pretty much outside city limits. It's barely outside city limits. There's an unlabeled driveway you follow down to find it, that has a sign after a little bit of distance down the unlabeled driveway that says authorized personnel only. Beyond that sign, the road winds back and forth like it's trying to make it take extra time to get to its destination. And then there you see a thick concrete wall, the exact same concrete wall you all saw this morning at 10 a.m. You see the same dome up above, a concrete dome, but not cracked open, thankfully. And there's beyond the gate more trees in the way, but you have not approached the gate yet. You still just see the dome in the background. But now, upon seeing the dome, everybody give me a sanity check, please.
sec. Gotta make sure. Why is it trying to drop a PDF in here? Don't know what I did with my thing.
You just refresh it.
Yeah.
Maybe you accidentally clicked a button on Miro or something.
I'm not really sure how. Okay.
Maybe there's a
there we
Miro
go.
hotkey that took over.
Okay. Character. Player character. Navigator.
Okay. Those of you who failed take 4 sanity damage, and High Tide, you are the only one who doesn't see this because you succeeded. Or Hollow
I
also
succeeded.
You succeeded. Thank you. You do not. Hunter and Hestia are the ones who see this. Much like that strange vision you saw this morning of the black tendrils cracking out of the dome, this time, instead of cracking out of the dome, you see those shadows kind of dancing across the tops of trees. Like there are many different figures, not quite humanoid, you can't quite make out their shapes that clearly, but like just rough shadows that are taller than they are wide, just kind of swaying around, and they're slowly rotating around the dome. As they kind of like sway back and forth, and occasionally like a little tendril of shadow will reach out and sway and then come back in, and they're doing some kind of like weird dance that you can't quite see clear enough, but you can see that it is a dance, and these shadows are just spinning around. Then that vision fades. Like you blink a couple times and shake, and it's gone.
Am I the only one who saw that? Something was moving up there.
No, I definitely saw that.
Tentacly little guys. Maybe I'm just tired, but I don't think so.
I don't know, Hunter. You're always seeing stuff.
Yeah, I know, and it's usually there.
We all saw something. Actually, did you all see something too before? I've seen this dome before, and I've never been here in my life.
You mean pretty early this morning?
Yeah, like 10?
Yep.
It was 10 on the dot.
Shit.
Everybody make a sanity check now that you've all realized you saw the same thing at the same time.
Gosh darn it, are you trying to kill us before you even get here?
Critical success. Wow.
Wow.
You all succeeded. No sanity loss. You're fine. It strikes you as odd, but it doesn't break your definition of reality at this point.
Oh, I mean, this isn't the first time it's all happened, so lucky us.
I haven't had a chance to tell you guys, but I had a similar vision thing a few months ago. I saw us, not Hestia, but Hematite was there, and it was in Montpellier. They had actually called Sky People.
Well, I mean, Hunter, do you recall seeing some crazy fight with everyone? It seemed like we were losing. The only thing we could do was lose.
I feel like that's been over and over. You might have to be a little more specific. Gonna be honest, that kind of thing I try not to remember too hard about. Because the more I try to remember it, the more I wonder if it actually happened. Then things get worse.
Well, it looked like they had something to say, and that they weren't actually hostile this time, weirdly. They mentioned something that they had created. We know them as dogs. That was rabid, on the loose. I really wonder if this is related. Because the end of the vision this morning was the stars.
Maybe.
GM, out of game. That vision that I keep referring to, was it just me that saw it, or was it the three of us without Hollow? Where it was like every single person from each cell was fighting in the forest?
I think that was everybody but Hollow, if I'm remembering correctly. But maybe it was just you who saw that.
Okay.
Like, everybody's seen different scenes that have sort of surrounded that scene. But, yeah.
Hmm.
Either way, like, Hunter has seen many times fighting like, whatever that was in the woods, running from it mostly. Like, Hestia definitely saw a time where, like, she was chasing all of that stuff down and so on. I think where it got confusing was I gave the vision to you, but I let Hunter and Hestia have agency over their characters in the vision. But I don't think their characters actually saw it. I think that might be where the confusion was.
Okay.
But if you do bring it up and they try to remember it, who knows what might happen?
Well, I mean, that's...
Mile?
my character is remembering the two of them being in the vision, so...
Yes.
He's gonna keep saying this.
Well, either way, I think it's safe to expect more of what we've seen before. Probably some more we've never seen.
Yeah, and all we've got is these lousy pistols.
And we've got a shotgun, too. It's waiting for us.
Yeah, but I got rifles and shotguns and all that stuff. Just lost them all in the flight.
Did you really try and take those on an airplane?
We haven't been able to take guns on airplanes for 5 years, man.
I know! Can't even store them under the plane in the flight.
Well, hopefully we don't have to use them. I really don't want to have to burn this place down. Because, I don't know, I feel like cracking it open the way that we saw is part of the problem. Unless, I don't know, whatever experiment they're doing here is what cracks it. Either way, we gotta shut this thing down.
Get to it then.
Alright, so you drive up to the gate. Who's driving?
Who has
Hunter
the
will
best
drive.
bike?
Alright, the usual. Hunter driving up. It's a pretty impressive gate. It's, you know, a little security hut just outside the concrete wall, of course, and then like a very, very large, like, just metal doors that have like closed in together and then locked together. It's not like a chain link fence gate or anything like that. This is some heavy duty stuff. And the security building, little hut out front, somebody steps out of the booth, and it is like a little concrete building itself. It's not like a little glass box, but you can see as you approach, Hunter, with your pretty high alertness, if I recall correctly. Yeah, 65 is pretty high. That there are security cameras hidden all over the place here. Some of them are actually like hidden in the plant life nearby, pointed up to get your vehicle recorded from like every angle possible, above it, around it, beside it, and so on. So it doesn't look like this booth particularly needs to be covered in glass. It's got very good camera coverage, you would guess. And as you approach, indeed, without you even seeing the guard inside through a window or anything, a guard steps out, and he's got a pretty heavy-duty like rifle, just like balanced across his chest, like ready to quickly grab and angle and shoot if he needs it. Just like strapped to his chest, angled downwards, so he could grab it with his right hand. Clearly, again, heavy-duty stuff. And as he approaches, he like signals for you to roll down your window.
Roll, 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 roll.
All right. IDs, please. You know, pass them up from the back, everyone.
I've seen this many a
Again,
time.
the weirdest feeling of deja vu right now.
Yes. Weird
Pass-
government facilities.
Pass my cover ID up.
looking at the top of the building for any snipers.
You can roll an alertness test. It is a dome, though. It might be a little harder. Anything. So
We
I
get to
assume
check the
everybody.
box.
Yeah, true. You get to check the box. I assume everybody
All
passes
planned.
up their cover IDs.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll take them from you. And he walks back into the box and he says, "All right, wait here." Just left, sitting here for a second.
Well, this is all too familiar.
All too familiar. What are the chances are they've got Sky people in there?
Probably
100%,
right?
People.
I mean, I'd say it's non-zero.
Do you mean?
All right.
Okay.
Did Hesty have something? Sorry.
Oh, Hestia was confused about the Sky People because I don't think she's ever interacted with them or heard about them, and like looked confused, started to ask a question, and then decided she didn't want to know the answer.
That's extremely Delta Green of you. The guard walks back out of the booth and holds the IDs out, band out for you to collect. All right. Yep, you're all on the list. Head on in. And he waves a hand, and the gates start to creak open with a heavy mechanical sound as they begin to like these large electrical engines spin up to move these heavy metal gates. You're allowed to drive deeper into the facility. Upon getting up to the dome, two more big metal doors open up from that point and allow you in as you approach, as if you don't notice the cameras this time, but you imagine there are probably cameras up here somewhere that are watching you from various obscure angles to make sure that they have an eye on you, and also to be able to open this door automatically. And once you're inside, it is brightly lit in here. Like, not the entire surface of the dome is made of lights, but there's like crisscrossing lines that go up and meet in the center of the dome above, of like lighting that points down into the middle, just kind of bathing everything fairly uniformly from all angles in light. It kind of gives you this effect of having like 8 different shadows that are kind of faint, which kind of messes with your head a little bit in here because you don't have like that sense of the shadow going one way, and your brain subconsciously works with that, and you don't have that now, so it just kind of gives you a weird feeling. Inside this dome, you see another security hut. You see a parking lot. No more gates, but there is a fairly large, like actual lab building. And I say fairly large, but it's maybe a couple 100 feet long, 100 feet wide, squat building, and then some weird science-y things off in the distance. You see some big structures that have these long, like, metal tubes going between them that are supported by a bunch of struts and things to make sure they're all lined up exactly. These structures are connected with different tubes in different ways, and these things are larger than the building itself, than the main building itself. They're like the tubes you could fit like a bus down them. The different buildings are they appear to have all sorts of scientific instruments on them at different angles. There's wires coming out of them. A lot of power appears to go to this location. There's actually like a transformer next to it, and so on. This is very, very heavy duty equipment here, whatever it is.
Hey, look, it's the internet.
It's the internet, yes. It's a series of tubes. So that's the situation you find yourselves in. You pull up into the parking lot. And yeah, it's a little after 5 at this point. And any of you have last conversations with each other before you head in there? Are you concealing your weapons? Are you, like, what's the plan here?
How many cars are there in the parking lot?
Quite a few dozen.
Okay.
I could try to find an
Hello,
exact
that
count,
is-
but it would take time.
Yeah. Hello has his sidearm, stashed away the way you normally would, just kind of on the shoulder holster.
Okay.
Hunter's just keeping his gun in his hip holster, I guess.
I'd probably have mine tucked in the back of my pants.
Have hers holstered, but like she's so uncomfortable with having a gun that you can kind of tell she has it.
Understood. Okay. So as you all gear up, get out of the car, get ready to head in. Do you leave the medical bag behind in the car, or are you taking that with you as you look around here?
No, I'm definitely taking it with me.
Okay. Geiger counters? People handling those?
Yeah, Hal will have a
Can
Geiger
it,
counter.
like,
Yeah.
come apart and go into a medical bag?
The Geiger counter? It's like handheld, so you could stash it in there.
Could put one in the medical bag.
I think the Geiger counters are a little bit more why we're here, because we're here for an inspection. The guns are the more unusual part of our gear, I think.
Should I put the gun in the bag? They're probably gonna want to search it.
Well, whatever you're comfortable with. If you're not comfortable carrying it, you might want to just, leave it here.
Had training with it, but like,
I
don't
mean, your
know,
purpose is to prevent death, so it makes sense if you're not comfortable wielding something.
Yeah, I spend most of my time patching up gunshot and knife wounds.
I mean, if you want, I can carry it. If you want to at least have it in the building.
Why don't you take it?
Puts it in the other shoulder holster.
So far they did not. To answer the question in chat, they didn't like check your bags or anything when you got through the main security gate outside. So if you have something on you, you can just still have it on you.
I was
but if
asking
you want
about
to stash it
airport.
somewhere. Oh,
In a checked bag, his knife would probably be fine.
yeah. Then we'll go with that. You have your knife with you then. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So all of you get your weapons ready. Hestia, are you taking the weapon or no?
No, I think Halo's got her weapon.
Yeah, I gave my weapon and the ammo to someone else.
Okay. So Halo's gonna go guns akimbo in here. Just go crazy.
Max Payne, bullet time.
Yep, absolutely. Okay. Oh. You've geared up. You've gotten here. And as all of you stand there and look at this stuff and get ready to... All of you maybe shift your weight a little bit like you're ready to start walking. That exact moment, before you can even take a step, another vision. Snap. This time it's so fast, you don't even feel that, like, welling up of panic before it happens. It just hits you immediately. And I think, because it's fun here, you all see slightly different things. Hestia, you are running around patching people up. Most of the people here have bullet wounds. There are people on the ground, scattered all around in lab coats. You are running from person to person, assessing vitals, trying to do anything you can for the massacre that occurred here. High Tide, you are in the car, maybe riding shotgun. So you approach this place. It is late at night when you arrive, far later than 5 p.m. It's dark out. It's maybe closer to 9 p.m., 10 p.m., something like that. And as you're driving up, sometime late at night, you arrive, you check in through the gate. So a few less cars here. It's later in the evening. People have started to leave. But before you even get out of the car, There's an explosion of some kind, some terrible thunder you hear, and then your vision ends. Hunter, you experience something very interesting in that whatever version of Hunter you experience in this moment, this Hunter is a pilot. You are flying a fighter jet and you are dropping bombs on this location and then flying off into the distance. Hallow. In your vision, there's a scientist on the floor looking up at you with a panicked expression on their face. Blood on their hands, and you raise a pistol to aim directly at them, and then your vision ends. That's where we're going to cut it off for this evening. As we enter the final arc of this campaign. Woo! Woo!
I mean, we're already not doing very well.
Yeah, this was intense for just a build up to what's happening next.
Right?
Yeah.